Hello, my name is Paul Martin. Welcome to this demonstration. What we're looking at here is NetBeans with a basic enterprise application in Java EE6, and I'm going to be demonstrating a tool that creates a CRUD application. This is the tool. It's command line based. The model for this tool is stored in a database. So we're going to enter a new model called inventory. Okay, and we're going to add some classes or relations as they're called in this tool. First one would be item. Then we add some attributes, give it a name, a length, null handling. We add a second one, call it code. It's an integer, doesn't allow nulls. And a third is description. This will be a large character type. Allow null as false. We're going to demonstrate how to change that setting by editing the existing attribute. Okay, we'll keep the same name, keep the same type, change the null behavior. There you can see the behavior has changed. Now for a second relation, item transaction. Got a quantity field, decimal type. Next we add a transdate field. Type is date. And lastly a description field. Length of 40. And we won't allow nulls. We'll add a third relation to the model called factory. Give it a name field and also a country field. Now that we've done that, we have three classes. We're going to add some associations between those classes. First will be an item to item transaction. So the owning class is item, the owned class is item trans, and the type is one to many. And we had a second, this time item to factory. Item is the owning class, factory is the owned, and we'll make it a many to many relationship. A factory can have many items and an item can belong to many factories. We choose generate, choose a type of Java Enterprise, and this is going to generate all our source code for us for a basic CRUD application. What we see here is the SQL files to create the tables. We're going to run a db2 batch script. Inventory.sql will be all the tables for the model. In this case there will be 4 tables, 3 for each relation and 1 for the many-to-many association. Here we're showing that the table was actually created. We need to put in the schema qualifier. Okay, and that is how the table comes out. Now back to NetBeans and we look at the Java source code that's been generated. Here we have our POJOs. We have an interface. Also a POJO class and an abstract class. This allows us to, there are the relations in our JPA mappings. And we have an integration test that it's been generated. We're going to run that test now just to make sure that all the back end is functional. It's a basic CRUD application, so it will support adding data to our DB2 database. And that's what's happening now. And as I was saying, the generator generates an abstract class where all the default functionality is, and an empty implementation class that won't be rewritten over, so that allows for overriding and changing the behavior of the generated objects. Okay, our test completed. Now we're going to take a look at the web application. Here we got some views generated for us. This is the list view. This is a faces file. Okay, we're going to add a link to test out the generated files. Okay, this is a faces link. We'll go to the list page. Now we're going to take a look at the controller classes that were generated. A managed bean, that's the empty implementation class, and here is the abstract base class. Also, we'll take a look at the properties file just to show that we also generated some values in this file. It will load this file and just put in what is necessary so changes don't get overwritten. And now we're going to test the CRUD application. We're running on an architecture of Glassfish with the database is DB2 Express. Here's our link. So we have a list class. We're going to add a new entity. These were the fields we added in the model. And you can see there the support for the relationships or the associations between classes that we added. Now we're going to add a child record of item transaction to our item. The front end looks a little funny because we're running on 800 by 600 for the purpose of the video, to keep the file size smaller. That's why you see a little bit of squashing. Okay, and now we add the other many-to-many association between item and factory. And that is the front end that is generated. And just to prove that this is all generated, we're going to make a change to the factory class, regenerate it, and preview what happens. The front end that generated is quite primitive, but it is functional and suitable for the designers to take over. Here we're going to add a field shipping region to our factory class. Okay, and we go back to the main menu and regenerate the source code. We also have to rerun the SQL file to get our extra field into the table. You could briefly see the alter table statement flash up. And now we'll refresh the application. We have to wait for Glassfish to redeploy the app. It's not done yet. Takes a little while. We'll try again. Still not quite deployed. And we go in again. Here we can see that there is a new field in the factory class reflected in the UI, and of course it's been reflected on the back end as well.